Your number 16 quarterback in your top 40 countdown
would be the legend of New Orleans, Drew Brees. Yes, I know. Number 16, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack from this. I got a lot of flack last year from putting in number 10. But I would like to pat myself on the back and say, Chris, you did a good job. That was a very proper ranking. Again, we all have to get out of this. Drew Brees at 16 at the age of whatever he is, 40, 41.
41.
I mean, that's amazing. First off, I just want everybody to know that he's still playing at this level at this age, and certainly playing at a level that you can win a Super Bowl with a team around you. And he can do that. He can lead them to a Super Bowl this year, his last year playing in the NFL. But for anybody to think like he's still in the top 10 or maybe in the top 5, like, this is all I have to say to you. The Saints wouldn't be pushing him out the door for Taysom Hill if he was still a top 5 or a top 10 quarterback. Like, that's all you need to know. If he was still playing at that high of a level, they would go, hey, we'll sign you to a few more years on the contract or whatever it may be. So I'm just giving everybody a little context clue. That should speak to something. Now, with him on the field, hey, Drew Brees, we know accuracy is his game. Accuracy, timing, his ability to diagnose a defense and get to the right guy on the offensive side of the ball as fast as anybody we've ever seen in the history of the sport. He's still really awesome at all of that stuff. He's still a decent athlete, too, for his age. He moves around the pocket. He can scramble for 4 and 5 yards every now and then and do stuff like that. So all those things are real, no doubt about it. And when you give him an offensive system, because of his experience, yeah, he can execute that system as good as anybody in the sport. Now, he'd be one of those guys, I tell you, if he had to go up in Seattle and play in that Russell Wilson offense, I'd go, whoa, this wouldn't be the same Drew Brees. He couldn't do some of that stuff. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but not at this point of his career, and his ability to throw the ball down the field and make those game-changing throws or those field position type changing throws, it's going downhill. There's no denying that. I don't know if you have the numbers to back that up, but I would expect that you might. But either way,
yeah.
they're bringing in Taysom Hill to throw a lot of deep balls, which should tell you there's a reason for that too. And to me, that's the biggest negative about Drew Brees' game right now. When we've seen them struggle in the playoffs and against some better defenses, it's the teams basically just go, we're not worried about anything 20 yards or deeper. We're going to crowd the middle of the field. We're going to play short passes and do that and take away Kamara and Michael Thomas over the middle. And that's when it becomes Troubleville for the Saints and Drew Brees in that offense.
So that makes sense to me. That may be why you could see things changing for him in 2020 as opposed to what they were in 2019, because the numbers indicate, just raw numbers and stats for Drew Brees. Again, to reiterate your point, stats often can lie. He led the league in completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had the highest quarterback rating of his career, second in the NFL. PFF had him rated as the second best quarterback last year, just behind Russell Wilson. So they were very high on what Drew Brees did on the field. So I think a lot of times last year people grouped, Tom Brady, Drew Brees together in your top 40 and crushed you for it, and they were both together. I think you were definitely vindicated on Tom Brady. I do feel like Drew Brees had a good enough year to where you say, all right, well, maybe he can replicate that at least for one more, Chris.
Well, I'm sure he can. I don't deny that. But, the big thing is, the offense delivers a lot. And completion percentage, to me, is a little bit of an overrated stat. One, I want to say to Drew Brees, hey, I'd wish you'd throw for 65% and throw some more balls down the field and deep post and things like that. They're going to make defenses guard the whole field and maybe get on their back of their heels a little bit when they're a safety or a corner playing and those type of things. The numbers are going to look good for no matter who plays quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. I'm sorry. That's the only way I can put it. I mean, we've seen Luke McCown come in, and he hasn't played in 4 years when he was the backup, but it's 300 yards and touchdowns and no interceptions. So this is one of the greatest offensive minds football has ever seen in Sean Payton. let alone there's great talent around Drew Brees at the offensive line position and running back and receiver and tight end. Okay? So we've got some real difference makers there. And, again, to me, the ability to make plays and explosive plays other than turnovers is still the second biggest factor in winning football games.
Yeah,
and Drew Brees doesn't deliver a lot of those type throws. And if he does, I would say more times than not, they're short throws that end up going for 20-plus yard type throws. And there's a difference there too. And I think it's a big reason they've struggled in some big moments the last few years. Because like I said, all of a sudden you're playing the Vikings, you're playing the Rams, you're playing the Vikings again in this playoff. Oh, their defense is good. Whoa, they got a defensive mind on the other side that takes away some of Sean Payton's stuff. And then all of a sudden the Saints offense doesn't look very scary. And, that would be, that's where Drew Brees is at this point of his career. Hey, 6-7 years ago, Drew Brees could scare you with his arm. And then that made things really dangerous. But right now, I don't think he has that effect.
So here's the numbers to back you up on that. So air yards per attempt, the distance the ball traveled downfield past the line of scrimmage. Only 3 quarterbacks had fewer air yards per attempt than Drew Brees last year. Do you think you can name them? You think you know the 3 quarterbacks who had fewer air yards per attempt than Drew Brees? Proves your point. He was down there amongst the bottom in the NFL. We've talked about 2 of them already today.
Talked about 2 of them already today?
Yep.
And I don't know. Go ahead. Just tell me.
Jimmy G, Derek Carr, and Teddy Bridgewater. So no mistake. He was also in the same.
It's all the same offense too. I mean, it's all the same offense. John Gruden. Hey, Kyle Shanahan learned for John Gruden. John Gruden and Sean Payton are best friends. They run the same offense, And Teddy Bridgewater, of course, was playing for Sean Payton too. But yes, those Payton and Shanahan are offensive geniuses, and they know how to expose defenses in the middle of the field. And that's where they are special. And, hey, a lot of times, Ahmed, they literally have plays where it's, hey, Drew, I want you to look over here and act like you're looking at something, but I'm going to work something over here on the backside, and it's just for one guy. And it's all about that because they literally have a number of plays in their offenses like that. I used to run them with John Gruden. People would go like, how did you read that how'd you read that play? And I wanted to be, I only throw to that guy. There's nothing to read. I'm looking over here just to make the defense move a little bit. So on those type of plays too, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh my gosh, what amazing quarterback play. The coach told him to look there and then look over there and throw to the open guy. Whoa, who could do that? So that's my little spiel on that one.
So what I would say to that, though, so he's 41 years old. He's spent, 14 years in the Sean Payton system there in New Orleans. So say the premise of this is you take a quarterback to win on your team for 1 year in 2020. He won't have Sean Payton anymore. I would argue Drew Brees knows the Sean Payton offense, knows what he's trying to do. He could install all the things that you say make his life so easy himself and have a very, very successful year.
Oh, so he's going to be able to call the plays throughout the game and do that? Is he going to bring Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, and Alvin Kamara with him too?
That he doesn't necessarily get. No, he doesn't get that.
What about the top 5 offensive line in football? Does he get to bring with them too? Oh, no. Oh, so
but what about true. So you need the talent as far as the Sean Payton, but you give him a lot of credit though, because he does operate in the Sean Payton system. How much could he replicate on his own at this point, you think?
Oh, I mean, he certainly could replicate and bring some of those plays somewhere else, right? And go, okay, this is what I got, and hey, we should infuse this, and they're going to go, whoa, this is how Sean Payton taught this? Yes, let's put that in our offense, So, yes, there is certainly some of that, but also within that, whoever that guy is going to go, wait, we have to cancel some of these things out of our offense because Drew can't make that throw or that's not realistic to ask him to do. So you're going to lose some offense too that way. So, good question by you, certainly. I still have a lot of respect for Drew Brees. I know people think I don't like him. Yes, do I think he's a little overrated in the all-time ranks and things like that? Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. but I know he's still a first ballot Hall of Famer and a really special quarterback.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.